The Philippine Air Force (PAF) is preparing to reintroduce one of its long-forgotten projects, which it now plans to re-implement under fiscal year 2021. The PAF's Long-Range Patrol Aircraft (LRPA) acquisition project is originally a Horizon 1 phase priority project under the revised AFP Modernization Program (RAFPMP). But the project hit several setbacks after a successful start a few years ago. As part of the proposed procurement submitted by the Department of National Defense (DND) to the Senate during its FY 2021 budget hearing, the LRPA project was among those proposed to be included as part of the PHP 5 billion unprogrammed appropriations to the AFP Modernization Program. The Long-Range Patrol Aircraft Acquisition Project was among those that started well when Horizon 1 phase was implemented, but ended miserably and neglected due to changes in priorities. The intention was for the Philippine Air Force to acquire its first two new Maritime Patrol Aircraft (MPA) that would be used for maritime surveillance, anti-ship and anti-submarine warfare, ASUW and ASW, intelligence gathering, and command and control C2. The aircraft are to fly further beyond the country's exclusive economic zone (EEZ), can be armed, and will be the primary manned surveillance asset of the PAF and armed forces of the Philippines in general. The allocated budget, ABC, for the project was PHP 5,976,000,000. The LRPA acquisition project was among the first project that was implemented by the PAF due to the expected long acquisition period. It was decided by DND back then that the acquisition will be via two-stage public bidding, with the procurement process starting as early as first quarter of 2014. It was expected that the winning bidder would be able to deliver both aircraft within 34 months after the release of Notice to Proceed (NTP), or opening of Letter of Credit (LOC). In the first bidding attempt, none of the participating companies were able to pass the first stage of the bidding. Another attempt was made in 2016, and only Airbus Military was able to pass the first stage and considered eligible to proceed to the second stage that was supposed to be held in a couple of months. But after several negotiations in between and conducting the second stage bidding, Airbus Military also failed the second stage bidding, effectively declaring the process a failed bidding. The failure was due to effects of the poor performance of the Philippine pesos against the US dollar and the euro, wherein the peso value of the ABC was deemed insufficient to allow Airbus Military to deliver two fully compliant MPAs. Instead, Airbus proposed to deliver one fully compliant aircraft, and one incomplete aircraft, no anti-submarine warfare capability, with the same bid amount they provided in the first stage bidding. But based on the government's Procure 8 meant rules under RA 9184, this is unacceptable, thus Airbus' submitted bid was considered non-compliant, and they were declared disqualified. With no other bidder in the project, the LRPA acquisition project was considered a failed bid as of 2017, after more than a year of process. A third attempt again happened in 2017 but was also considered another failed bidding, after none of the bidders passed the initial requirements under the first stage bidding. With the failed biddings, the DND is now allowed by law to proceed to a limited-sourced negotiated procurement, which means it can now go directly to several of its shortlisted suppliers, manufacturers and get their best offer. This means the DND can now go directly and negotiate with Airbus Defence and Space, which appears to be the PAF's preferred supplier for the LRPA with their Airbus CASA C295 MPA Persuader, similar to those sold to the Chilean Navy. Further reading is advised, through our previous blog entries on the LRPA's technical specs. PAF's Long-Range Patrol Aircraft, Tech Specs, Post-Bidding Report and Updated Analysis, first posted 29 May 2015. Possible LRPA Negotiated Procurement. According to MaxDefense's earlier blog entries since 2014, despite the PAF's interest on refurbished Lockheed P-3C Orion maritime patrol aircraft from either US, Japan or Australia, the PAF is actually more interested in getting new aircraft, although they remain open on the potential acquisition of used P-3C Orions to boost the fleet. The three failed biddings in the past means the DND can now go directly and negotiate with interested proponents as allowed by law. This does not need to be just Airbus Military, which almost bagged the project a few years ago with their Airbus CASA C295 MPA Persuader. It now depends on the revised selection process conducted by the PAF's Technical Working Group (TWG), which already changed leadership and membership over the past 6 years. But this does not close the door on the chance that the project would still be procured via a public bidding. This would now be dependent on the DND, which should issue a new Acquisition Decision Memorandum (ADM) on how to proceed with the project. At this point in time, Max Defense has no information yet as we have not received any info on a new ADM for the project released by the DND for the project, although we expect to know about it once it's released. New information is of November 2020. Due to the long dormancy of the project, there appears to be a lot of changes in the project. First of the head and members of the technical working group has changed. So expect a different mindset on what to expect with the technical specifications. Majority of those who previously were in the group have already moved up in position, although some of them are expected to remain. Because of this, there is a possibility that revisions on the technical specifications could be made. Basis could be on what prompted the project to fail back in 2017. Cost is another factor. Since 2017, it is expected that the cost of the same maritime patrol aircraft offered in 2016-2017 could have already increased by at least 5–15% due to inflation and other reasons.